Hi guys and welcome to Crazy Burger. So what's in store for 2024 for Evercade? Join me as I look in this video potential games that we might see on Evercade this year. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, before I get to the speculation part of the video, let's have a look at the carts and games that we know are definitely coming to Evercade in 2024. Now the first one we know is Indie Heroes Collection 3 that will launch at the end of February 2024. So it's not too long to go at the time of this video. And there's some really good games on this collection that we have already played as part of Game of the Month on Evercade EXP and Evercade VS. Now, if you haven't played them yet, or you're just waiting for the cart, you're certainly in for a treat, because I think this is potentially one of the best collections that's been released yet, Indie Heroes wise that is, but I guess not everyone would agree. Yet we've got another version of Alien Cat, and Bubble Seahorse Adventures was probably the last game of the month. But what I'm going to do is highlight my top 3 games from this collection according to myself. Now everyone is probably going to have a very different idea, but let's have a look at them. Okay, so also releasing with Indie Heroes Collection 3 is C64 Collection 3. Yep, we're getting more Commodore 64 games onto Evercade. Not a huge surprise, it's going to be more games from the Epic's Houston brand. Hopefully this will be the last. I don't think a lot of these are not classics, although obviously Boulder Dash, I think many people think this is a classic, along with Heavy Metal Paradroid, which is excellent as well. So I think between the 3 collections that we've got, you could probably pick maybe half a dozen games that you could say are classics from the C64 era. There's a lot of other games that are really just a bit filler for me, and I wouldn't really regard them as classics, but they're still decent enough games, I guess. Some pretty poor ones as well, sadly. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is pick my top 3 games, in my view, from these collections. Let's have a look at those now. So what else could we see on Evercade in 2024? So this part of the video is obviously speculation. I don't actually know what's coming to Evercade, but I have guessed correctly on some games before in my previous videos. So if you want to check, have a look back at last year's and the year before that. There's certainly games that I've predicted have came to Evercade. So let's have a look at what I think we might see on Evercade in 2024. Okay then, so sticking with the Commodore 64 theme at present, I think we will potentially see a homebrew collection with Commodore 64 games from the likes of Cytronic, who publish a lot of new Commodore 64 games these days. There's tons of them on their website. You can find a lot of these games on itch.io as well. Some are free and some are obviously at a small price. This one, Laika the Lost Island, is I think it's an RPG style game, and I'm pretty sure it was free to download as well. So this one has legs. It might come to Evercade at some point. Now this isn't purely a wish list for me, because Blaze have actually been asking on their Discord channel throughout 2023 for games from Cytronic and Protovision that we would like to see on Evercade. So I think this one definitely has legs, and we could see a homebrew Commodore 64 collection from the likes of Protovision and Cytronic. There's so many good games here that I'm pretty sure we could eventually get a few collections out of it. Now you might recognise a few of these games from the C64 Mini. Obviously we got a few games for free on some firmware updates. You might recognise this game. This is Mayhem in Monsterland. Looks like this has appeared on the Cytronic website. It's the 25th anniversary edition of the classic game from Commodore 64. Now I remember this game being rated, I think it was 100% in the Commodore Format magazine. This was near the end of the Commodore 64 original lifespan, and I've played it recently and it's fantastic. A great little game from the same creators of Creatures and Creatures 2, I think. Some great titles. Hopefully we could see that. Bit of a wish list, that one, I guess. But we could also see stuff from Protovision as well. And this game here, A Pig Quest, was voted as the best game on Commodore 64 last year on the homebrew scene. And it looks fantastic. Sadly, I've not actually played it yet. I am going to try and play it at some point. It looked cracking. So I still hold out for a Commodore 64 Thalamus collection with the likes of Creatures on it, which is my all-time favourite Commodore 64 game. Now this isn't totally far-fetched because Thalamus are still on the go. I think it's all just a matter of Blaze and Thalamus getting together and trying to agree a price and getting a few of their amazing games onto an Evercade cartridge. But what we could also see, maybe System 3, they are also on the go. Could we see IK Plus and maybe even the Last Ninja games on Evercade? Fingers crossed, I hope it happens, but I think we are more likely to see a Thalamus collection than a System 3 collection. But it would still be amazing. These would be classics for your Evercade. So what we could see through 2024 is a sequel to Flea. I know that Low-Tech Games are actually working on a sequel to their amazing game Flea, and that might be part of Indie Heroes Collection 4, which we would maybe see throughout the year as part of Game of the Month. Fingers crossed this happens. Okay, so after the amazing remastered versions of the DOS games Duke Nukem 1 and 2, will we see the DOS versions of Commander Keen also from the same company on Evercade in 2024? I don't think this is too far-fetched. I think it's very, very possible. I'm not really sure what the licensing is between these games, but I think there's a big possibility we could see Commander Keen collection. This would also need a lot of work to it, I guess. I think we probably need to update the sound effects a little bit and update the music to it. But really cool games. They obviously use a lot of the similar sort of sound effects and ideas that you would see in the Duke Nukem games. I'm not sure how many Commander Keen games there is, but hopefully we could get a collection. It would obviously require a lot of work on Blaze's behalf again. Will they do this? Will they not? I'm not entirely sure. It would be very cool. I think this one certainly has a good chance of happening. So sticking with DOS games, could we eventually see the DOS version of Doom or a Doom collection of some sorts on Evercade. It's probably one of the things we are missing, I think, is that Doom collection. It's on every system imaginable. I'm pretty sure everyone already owns it many times over. I know I do, but I would certainly welcome it with open arms if we eventually got it on Evercade. Now, what also about Prince of Persia? This is the DOS version. Could we see this? Obviously, that appeared in lots of different systems as well. It would be pretty cool, and it's one of those classics from back in the day that probably inspired a lot of other games that we already have on Evercade, such as Full Void. Also, what about Wolfenstein 3D? Could we also see that as a game on Evercade? Hard to say. I would love it. It's a classic of its time, an amazing title. It would be great to see it. So there are three companies that come to mind that we don't have on Evercade as yet. One of them would be Sega, the other would be Konami, and the other would be SNK or Neo Geo stuff. Will we ever see these on Evercade? Now, a Sega collection of any description, an arcade collection, or maybe even a console collection would be fantastic. I think it's probably more likely we would get an arcade collection, but I think more likely if we ever do get Sega stuff, I think it's more likely to be on the Hyper Megatech brand in the form of a Super Pocket. Maybe we'll see that next year, who knows. I'm not obviously going to cover that too much in this video, but could we also see a Konami collection? This is another big company that's not yet on Evercade in any form. I think if we are going to get that, I think it's going to be similar to the Sega. We might even get a Super Pocket from Konami with lots of arcade titles. Now obviously, just like Sega, you could also get a console collection as well. If this did happen, it would open the door for so many possibilities, but it just could be out of reach for Blaze, I think, with the maybe far too expensive, or maybe Konami and Sega are just not interested in getting a collection onto Evercade. Could we see an SNK Neo Geo collection on Evercade? It's possible. I think it could be like Konami and Sega. We could see a Super Pocket with like Metal Slug on it. That would be fantastic. A whole Metal Slug collection would be amazing. Will we ever see it? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's something that Blaze have looked at. Is it affordable for them? Hard to say. Are SNK interested? Much like Konami and Sega? Who knows? Certainly it's a possibility, maybe even more likely to be a Super Pocket at some point this year. So getting back to arcade, what will we see in 2024? Surely we will see a few more arcade collections because we didn't really get enough in 2023. Will we get an Irem collection too, including this game, Image Fight? Now this game has been appearing on modern consoles in a collection of sorts. I know Irem have been releasing a lot of collections, not a lot of games on them, right enough, so I guess that we must have got something of a bargain in Irem Collection 1 with 6 games on Evercade. Will we see a second collection? Fingers crossed that happens. So something I think we'll definitely see through 2024 is a Jaleco Arcade Collection 2. Might include this game, Best Bout Boxing, it might not. I think obviously the first cart that we got arcade wise anyway from Jaleco was fantastic. Probably one of my favourite collections on Evercade. And there are tons and tons of other games that we could see as part of an Arcade Collection 2, even an Arcade Collection 3 from Jaleco. I'm not going to cover it in this video, I'll probably look at this separate. There's so many games to cover that it probably deserves a video all by itself. Could we also eventually see a cave collection on Evercade? Now, this is very similar to the tour plan collections. There'll be tons and tons of shooters. I think a lot of the folks that worked at Cave had previously worked at tour plan, so maybe the fact that we had tour plan already sort of opens the door to get a cave collection of some sorts. There's certainly some really interesting shooters there. I'm not a big shooter fan, but I can certainly recognise that these are very high quality indeed. So maybe throughout 2024 we'll see another Data East collection on Evercade. Fingers crossed it's another arcade collection including Boogie Wings. It seems really weird that we've not seen any more Data East at this point on Evercade, because there are tons and tons of games out there that we could see in multiple collections, whether it be even console collections or arcade collections. It doesn't really matter. There's tons of games out there that could certainly make it. It certainly is a bit weird that we've not seen any more. The first collection we got on Evercade, the console collection, was absolutely fantastic. The arcade collection was pretty decent as well. It's certainly, I don't know, it's a bit of a head scratcher for me that we've not seen a lot more collections. Maybe we'll see them through 2024. So moving away from arcade collections, looking now at console collections. Now I think it's very possible we could see Mega Cat's Collection 3 through 2024. Their catalogue has slowly been building back up again of games, new games that we could see on Evercade. There's lots of them. I think it certainly could create a collection of maybe 8-9 games or so, and I'm going to feature a few of these in the next couple of minutes. There's some really decent stuff. There's some shooters, platformers, puzzlers, the usual stuff that we see from Mega Cat Studios, and I've loved both collections that we've had from them. I think they've been great, and yet it's basically a lot of new retro style games that you probably haven't played before, and they're all usually pretty decent stuff. Let's have a look at a few of those now. Now I think it's very, very likely that we will see maybe dual carts next year, maybe even more single game collections. I just hope that if they do choose a single game, that it is worth being a single game. I don't think Full Void was really worth being a single game cart, but certainly maybe even a dual collection. Could we see this as part of a dual collection? This is Life on Earth from Kai Magazine Software. Now I have noticed that there's a lot of games from Kai Magazine Software, so it's possible we might even see a collection from them. With a few games. Now this game looks fantastic. It feels a little bit like Valis meets a few other style Mega Drive games, and it's very high quality. I got, even playing through this, I got Akira vibes just looking at the different style backgrounds that were going on there. I think it looks fantastic, and for a Mega Drive title, wow, absolutely amazing stuff, really impressive. Could we see this? I think it's possible we could see this as part of a dual collection with something else, or maybe a Kai Magazine Software collection, as I said. Could happen, it might not, but it looks fantastic nonetheless. So another possibility for a dual collection could be this game, Project Blue, that was released very recently on modern consoles, Xbox, PlayStation and on the Steam store. And I think it sells for roughly about £10 or $10, so it's got that price range that you could see it being part of a dual collection, and it's really high quality stuff. It's a run and gun NES style game and it's fantastic stuff. I'd love to see this one on Indie Heroes, or maybe even on a dual collection of some sorts. So is it possible we could see a Shovel Knight collection on Evercade? I think it's most likely going to be a single game cart if we ever got it. I don't think this would be part of a dual collection. I'm pretty sure if we got it, it'd be a Shovel Knight collection. It would just be on its own, and I think it'd be fantastic. Now it's clearly very similar to Cathedral. I'm pretty sure Shovel Knight came before Cathedral, so Cathedral has obviously stole a lot of the aspects that you see in this game. It's very, very similar. It is very challenging as well. But if you love Cathedral, I'm pretty sure you would absolutely love these games. Very high quality, brand new retro style games. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I think it's very likely that we'll see more MSX games on Evercade, maybe as part of another Home Computer Heroes collection. I'm pretty sure we will see a second collection through 2024, but what that will be, what will be included on that is hard to say. We might have already covered some of that with the C64 homebrew stuff. Obviously it's difficult to say. There'll be more Amiga, I'm sure, that'll prop out of somewhere. There's lots of Amiga C64 homebrew stuff. There's a few MSX titles out there as well that we're looking at now. Some really cool stuff that I'd love to see. I absolutely loved Sword of Iana. I thought it was fantastic. So it'd be great to see some more MSX games. I don't think it's very realistic that we'd ever get an MSX collection as such, including stuff like Konami, Metal Gear Solid, that type of thing. Unless we got Konami on board, I think it's highly unlikely. It's more likely we'll see single games on Home Computer Hero collections, such as this one as well. This is Highway Fighter, and this is available on Antstream. And there's quite a few of the games that you see in this video on Antstream right now that you can play right now. Obviously it does stream over the net, so it does vary in quality a little bit. And this one again is from Kai Magazine Software Code, so this could be on another collection entirely. But I'm pretty sure one way or another we will see Home Computer Heroes collection. Now this is actually the MSX version of Head Over Heels. I think it's more likely that we would love to see a Spectrum version, but will we see a Spectrum collection? Will we see an Amstrad collection on Evercade? I'm not so sure. I think as time goes on, I'm starting to think it's just not possible, and it's not going to happen. Hard to say. It might happen, it might come out the blue, but I don't think it will. So will we see another Gremlin collection on Evercade? It would be great to see a Gremlin Amiga collection with the likes of Supercars, which is fantastic. I think that would be really cool. It would also be great to see the Lotus Turbo Challenge games on Evercade, but I don't think that's likely, given the fact that it's probably going to cost far too much for the licensing with Lotus name being used. It'd be great to see a console collection as well from Gremlin, another one including the likes of Actua Golf, but I don't think the first collection was that well received, so it's hard to see another one coming to Evercade. What's more likely, I guess, could be another Team 17 collection on Evercade with Amiga games, that is, another Amiga Team 17 with the likes of Alien Breed 3D, which is a fantastic sort of first person shooter. But I think maybe Citadel is probably better than this, hard to say, but will this run on Evercade? Is it possible? Will we also get Super Frog? I think there are some licensing issues. We've got Lucozade sort of products in sort of cutscenes and throughout the levels. Will they be able to cut that out? Will they be able to license it? Hard to say. It's such a great game, it would be fantastic to see this on Evercade. Could we finally see a Williams arcade collection featuring the likes of Stargate, Defender and Robotron? It would be fantastic. Obviously they were renowned for some really classic arcade titles. I actually enjoyed Stargate on the Atari 2600. I thought it was a fantastic game. Not so great at it anymore, but I think they're fantastic games. It would be great to see this. Not sure why we don't. It might be who actually owns Williams' rights now. It could be Warner Brothers, I'm not entirely sure. So I'm not sure if it's plausible or not. Could we eventually see a Midway collection on Evercade? I think it's likely, but maybe even as a Super Pocket rather than a collection. It would be fantastic to get this on Evercade. Again, I think like Williams, I think Midway is owned by Warner Brothers, so the likelihood of getting a license, or a cheap one at that, is probably unlikely. But I suppose it would be fantastic. This is certainly a massive part of our growing up gaming in the arcades back in the 90s.
Excellent. Excellent. Scorpion wins.
So if we could get Midway, could that include Paperboy? I'm pretty sure it's Midway that own the license for this game, which I absolutely loved back in the day. This is the arcade version that we're playing here. However, it was probably the Commodore 64 version that I played back in the day when I had one. But what a great game. It's on pretty much every system you can think of, and it was very, very addictive. I kept playing it over and over again, trying to obviously deliver as many papers as you can to the subscribers and avoiding all the traffic and things that are walking out in front of you on the road. But what a great title. There is a game called Video Kid that was released very recently that's kind of similar, and it's like a homage to this game. But will we get Paperboy? Hard to say. Okay, so looking at different formats that we could receive on Evercade in 2024, I think one of the formats that we've not seen anything yet is TurboGrafx or PC Engine. I don't think we'll ever see this game. This is Paris All Stars, even though we have Taito on board in the guise of the Super Pockets. I doubt very much we'll see this game, but we could potentially see a TurboGrafx game of some description appear on some of the collections. I don't know exactly what game that would be, I'm not really sure, but also something else that we probably won't ever see is games from the WonderSwan colour, or even the WonderSwan. It would be really good, but I think looking at a lot of the games, there's obviously massive language barriers there, and all the games are in Japanese, so I'm pretty sure there's some games there that don't need translated, but even looking at this simple golf game, even though I know what I'm doing, all the menus are covered in Japanese and it's just impossible to understand exactly everything that is going on. But ideally, I would certainly love to see another golf game on Evercade, but I doubt very much it will be the WonderSwan colour or even TurboGrafx stuff. So something I also wanted to touch on was the Broken Sword series. I would love to see these on Evercade. I know that Blaze obviously dabbled with the point and click adventures last year with the Amiga games, but I don't think they were really perfectly suited. I think the Broken Sword games would certainly be a lot better, especially the initial PlayStation versions that were released. This version is the Steam version, or the sort of later updated version that had a lot of changes to it. But what a great game this was. This is Broken Sword 2. The first one was fantastic as well. Could we see a dual cart with the two of them on it? I would love it, and these are probably my favourite point and click games that I've played through the last 30 years or so.
You don't want to make a habit of that, pal.
Let me in and I'll give you this.
I got plenty of coal already.
I heard it was lucky.
Superstitious crap.
Now, something that could be a possibility is a dual collection from Out of the Bit. Obviously, they done the game Full Void, but there's also a couple of games that they done. There was Super Arcade Football and Super Arcade Racing, and I played them recently in a video, and both of them are really good fun. So there's potential there for a dual collection. Hopefully, these would run on an Evercade. I don't see any massive issues in why they wouldn't. This is also very much like Sensible Soccer. It is very cool and a lot of fun to play. So another game I would expect to see in some way, shape or form is The Cursed Knight from Broke Studios. Now Broke Studios are already on board on Evercade, so this is a game I would expect to see in some way, whether it be on a dual collection or even on a future Indie Heroes collection. Not entirely sure where the value is at all, but it's a really cool game. It's a mix between a shooting game and a platform style game with RPG elements as well. It's very cool. It is available on modern platforms at present. Will we see it on Evercade? Fingers crossed we do. So another game that I've thoroughly enjoyed throughout last year was Evercade, and this is available on all modern platforms as well, and I don't see any reason why this should not be able to run on an Evercade platform. It is still based on an old style retro graphics, and it's fantastic. It's a puzzle platformer, and it's very tricky. It probably doesn't look like much, but I absolutely loved it, and once I started playing it I could not stop till I solved it. It does get very, very hard right enough, and it takes a few maybe a few hours to even solve some of the puzzles because you just can't get your head round on what to do. But what a great puzzle game it is. Fantastic stuff. It would make for a great dual collection with something else. Not sure what that game would be, but I would love to see this on Evercade. So a game I would expect to see on Indie Heroes Collection 4 is Cash Cow DX. Now we probably might even get a taster of this throughout 2024 as part of Game of the Month for Indie Heroes Collection 4, and it looks fantastic. It looks ferocious, addictive. Obviously it's a brand new style game based on the old sort of 80s style arcade games, and it is going to release on most modern platforms at some point in February 2024, so that's very soon. Fingers crossed we get this on Indie Heroes Collection 4, it looks absolutely brilliant. So this is Pandemonium from Crystal Dynamics on the PlayStation 1, which I remember back in the day. I remember playing the demo on the PlayStation magazine, and it certainly stuck out for the colourful graphics, the 3D platforming style, which I think a lot of companies were trying to utilise and make the most of. I'm not entirely sure if anyone actually nailed it or got it right, to be honest. Maybe apart from games like Spyro the Dragon, but was this any good? I'm not entirely sure. Could we possibly see a Crystal Dynamics collection? I'm not entirely sure what other games they did, but this one is one that definitely stuck out and is probably one of their more memorable games from their game library. So sticking with PlayStation, this is Ridge Racer from Namco. Now I'm not saying we're going to get the PlayStation version at all, but wouldn't it be great if Blaze and Namco could get together again and somehow deliver a Namco arcade collection, including games such as Ridge Racer and Tekken and maybe a few others. I'd love to see that, that would be fantastic. Not sure what happened with Blaze and Namco, that certainly seemed to tail off after the first few collections that we got back in 2020. Could we see an arcade collection? How good would this be? I think this would be fantastic. It would also be great if they could somehow renew their licensing for the first couple of collections that we have on Evercade, so that we can get them played on the VS, because it's really frustrating not being able to play them on VS in an official capacity. So delving into the realms of probably no chance is Tomb Raider collection. Could we see a Tomb Raider collection on Evercade? Probably most likely be the PlayStation original versions if we got anything at all. Be good to see maybe sort of Tomb Raider 1 and 2, maybe even the third one on one collection from IDOS or whoever owns the rights to these games now. I've lost track of it, it's very, very messy. But they've made Tomb Raider games practically every year for the last 20, 30 years, and they are actually re-releasing the original trilogy in a remastered form very soon. I think it's next month they're actually doing that. Could we see the originals on a cart, the PlayStation originals? It would be amazing. These were a massive part of sort of me growing up, playing on the PlayStation, playing those janky style games, which I absolutely loved. I thought they were brilliant, but do they still hold up well? Hard to say. It would still be nice to play them again on Evercade if that could be possible. Okay, so looking at stuff that's not gaming related, I expect that through 2024 we will probably get an updated version of the EXP. Not sure if it would be like an EXP2 or maybe titled like an EXP Plus. Given the Super Pockets that were released at the end of 2023, it was quite apparent that the EXP fell down in quite a lot of sort of ways in comparison to the Super Pocket, especially if you compared the sound and maybe a few other things as well, like battery life, to the EXP. The EXP really falls down badly when it comes to those things. So will we see an upgraded version of the EXP through 2024, or will they just go all out and introduce a full EXP2 with added sort of bonuses that they can play Dreamcast games, N64 games? I'm not sure we're at that stage at the moment, but I'm pretty sure we might see an upgraded version of the EXP with better battery life and perhaps better sound as well. Okay, this is the final prediction for me. Could we see a Retro City Rampage collection on Evercade? Single game or even a dual collection? I think there's actually a sequel. This is so much fun. It's obviously a Grand Theft Auto style game. I doubt we'll ever see Grand Theft Auto, so this could be the next best thing. I don't see why it shouldn't be able to run on Evercade. It just depends what engine it's actually using. It's obviously very much retro style graphics. It would look perfect on Evercade products. I think it would be brilliant. It's great fun, even without doing everything, just committing crimes and, you know, doing things you're not supposed to do, like mow over humans and people on the pavements. I have to say it is a lot of fun, but yeah, that's so bad of me. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I've tried to include as much as I possibly could, and at the same time I probably didn't include a lot of other things as well. The video could potentially go on for hours and hours. I'm pretty sure we'll see some of this that we've got on here, like we will probably see more Commodore 64 and the Visor Protovision, Cytronic. We might even see Commander Keen. I doubt very much we'll see the other DOS games like Prince of Persia and a Doom collection, highly unlikely. Will we ever see Sega, Konami or SNK, Neo Geo, Williams, Midway? There's so many possibilities out there. Maybe we've opened a few more doors, because Blaze certainly had a very good 2023. Has that opened some more doors that we could see all these things that we're yet to see on Evercade, or will we simply just get super pockets throughout the year? Hard to say, but hope you enjoyed the video. There's so many other things we could see. Sunsoft Collection 2, I'm pretty sure we'll see some more Jalico Collection 2, but what about the others like Data East and Namco? Will we see any more from them? I'm pretty sure we'll see more Amiga stuff. What about stuff we've not seen yet? Like, could we see a Game Gear game? I doubt we'll see a Game Gear collection, but we might see a game. Could we see a TurboGrafx game? I'm sure we'll see more natively running games as well, more MSX stuff. There's certainly a lot of possibilities out there, but guys, let me know what you think. What else do you think we'll see in 2024 on Evercade? Thanks for watching. Catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.